I never get tired of that. That's the other advantage of the Sturdy Pie Challenge, because we get a pie that's easy to slice because we can pop it right out of the plate. Hi, I'm Erin Jeanne McDowell, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my maple sugar pie and all the tools that I use to make it, and that you can use to make any pie so that you can pass the Sturdy Pie Challenge and eat your pie like a slice of pizza. Like most bakers, I strongly recommend weighing your ingredients using a scale instead of using volume measure. But this is especially important with pie dough, where the hydration is so important. If our flour quantity is even slightly off, it can really change the final hydration. So it's really important to use a scale to make sure we get it down right to the exact gram. This scale is one of my favorites to use because it is easy to use and it slides right into a drawer when I'm not using it. It's very low profile. One of my all-time favorite tools in the kitchen is this, a bench scraper or bench knife. This is so handy for so many things in pie baking, but it comes into play right at the very beginning, cutting my chilled fat into cubes. I love to use this. It's just sharp enough and it makes quick, easy work of it, but I can also use it to help me shape or cut dough into pieces, and I can use it to help scrape the work surface clean of flour when I'm done. I'm a big fan of making pie dough by hand, but that can be really tricky for some people, especially when you're working with an all butter crust. So for anyone who's needing a little bit of extra help and security with their pie dough, I like to recommend using a pastry cutter. The pastry cutter has blades attached to a handle, and it really mimics the same kind of motion I would do with my hands to cut this fat into the flour to make our pastry dough. If you're working in a particularly warm environment, this has the added benefit of you can even refrigerate or freeze this tool before you start working with your pie dough. That's going to keep all your ingredients nice and cool even while you're mixing. To make pie, you obviously need a good, reliable rolling pin. I'm a big believer that hand tools like these are really, really personal. So I typically prefer a French style of pin, which is tapered at the edges and doesn't have any handles. However, I also make a lot of pie. And one thing I've found is when I'm making a whole bunch of them, a rolling pin with handles is actually really a lot easier on your hands. So if you're somebody who has any kind of hand pain or difficulty with rolling out things like this, or you're planning on making a lot, you might find that one with handles is going to be a little bit easier for you. But really what you're looking for is something nice and smooth with a good amount of weight so that it's easy to roll out pastry doughs like this one. I also like to use the rolling pin to help me transfer the dough from my work surface to my pie pan. So I just use it, I roll it up around the edge, roll it all the way up, bring in my pie pan, and unfurl the dough into the pan. And this is actually my all-time favorite pie pan. I have so many of these. It's a metal pie plate, and it is the most non-stick, so that's especially great for achieving the Sturdy Pie Challenge, which is my favorite pie party trick. When a pie is properly baked, you should be able to lift it entirely out of the pan, and a good non-stick pan like this makes that especially easy. And because it's metal, it's easy to get a nice even bake on the sides and bottom of the pan, as well as whatever your top and edge of your crust are as well. When I'm working with pie dough, I love the handiness, pun fully intended, of using scissors. They make it easy to trim away excess dough, and you can even use them to add cute decorative effects to the edges of your pie crust as well. And it's easy. When you're using something like a knife, it's a two-handed sort of job, but with scissors, I can just cut around and turn the pie pan with my other hand to make sure I'm getting a nice even cut. I let this crust chill for a while. I've docked it with a fork to help, but now it's going to be time to par bake it. I'm a big advocate of par baking, especially single crust pies. And in order to do that, you need a good amount of pie weights. You can use a lot of different things for this, but one of the simplest things to recommend is dried beans. You can reuse these many times. You can't necessarily cook the beans after you're using them as pie weights, but you can keep using them as pie weights for a good long time. The most important thing to remember about pie weights is that you need enough to fully fill this pie pan. So it has to come all the way up to the top edge of the pie plate. So I've got here a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to crumple it up. And now I'm going to press it into the pie pan, but crumpling it up makes it easier to form into the shape of the pie pan so that I can just pour the beans inside. Once I've got nice coverage in that pie pan there, I'm going to add my beans. Now this is ready to be par baked. That's going to help us ensure that the sides and base of our crust are as evenly baked and fully baked as that outer edge of the crust. One of my other favorite pie baking tools is hiding in the oven. It is the baking steel. I love the baking steel for helping drive heat to the bottom of the pie pan to help make sure that we get a nice golden brown base. No soggy bottoms on my watch. I really like to use a good heavy-duty parchment paper to hold these pie weights in, and this is why. Because when it's time to take them out, when we're almost done with the par bake, we want to make sure it can support the weight of all of those beans that we put inside. Now, this pie is going to go back into the oven just to finish up its par bake. If you don't have a baking steel, you can just try baking your pie towards the bottom of your oven or anywhere where the heating element is nice and close to it, and that'll do a similar thing and do that work to set that pie crust and get it nice and golden brown. Here's our finished par-baked crust. My best advice for par baking is make sure you bake it enough that the bottom of the crust looks matte. It shouldn't look shiny, and it should be sort of lighter in color than when it was raw dough. So as you can see, this pie is already on its way to passing the Sturdy Pie Challenge. My pie has had a chance to cool, which means it's finally time to complete my favorite thing in the world, the Sturdy Pie Challenge. Ah, it's beautiful. It's as brown here, as it is on the side, as it is on the top. And now this pie is ready for my final finishing touch, a little powdered sugar dusting. And then we can eat our pie like a pizza, which is my other favorite thing to do. Smooth, custardy, mapley, and just sweet enough. I love this maple sugar pie. I don't know, guys, it still tastes pretty friggin' good. Especially because it's still a little warm. I don't normally eat it this way. With the right tools, you can make the prettiest and most delicious pie. The proof is in the pie pudding. Don't make me keep trying to give closing statements. Smile, you baked a sturdy pie. Smile.
Perfect.